Mm. Wanted to focus on that, yeah. Hello, yes. I'm looking forward to talking about 2 episodes this week, so yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Oh, it cut
Design.
out there. There we go.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Mm.
Brie, yeah, is your audio coming through on the stream? Because people cannot are saying they cannot hear you, which is bad. Um,
Oh no.
so we apologize for this. We're as professional as we can be.
Oh no.
All right,
Oh,
now we can hear me, because I didn't even
Yes.
bother to check that my input device was correct on here. Only on Discord did I check that. But we'll do this all over again. Hello, and welcome to the weekly, almost weekly show. You heard most of it. You heard everyone else talk. You just couldn't hear me.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about a lot. 2 episodes, Lower Decks episode 4 and episode 5. And Star Trek Day, which is why we ended up missing last stream. We wanted to just get all that Star Trek right in our veins and just have a whole week to sit on it. So now that I can be heard, that is our topic for this week, and we are joined by Dom and Linda. And now that that's sorted out, now we can hit the oldest news, which is episode 4 of Lower Decks. What did you guys think about it?
I'll let you go first.
Oh, that was some episode.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to just get that back out for everyone.
Well, I watch it when it comes out on Amazon Prime at 11 a.m. on a Friday. So I've just dropped the kids to school, got home, made a cup of tea, sat down. I'm sitting there in the front room in the middle of the day, and what I expected to be watching Friday morning. It was unexpected.
It was, yeah, I would have to agree. As in, I like the episode, but I think that its humor did go a little too far in some places. And obviously, if you've watched the episode, you know those places that it went. But I mean, apart from that humor, it was an okay episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best Lower Decks episode. I don't know I don't know if it was the worst Lower Decks episode, but yeah, it was just a Lower Decks episode.
I did find it funny. I did find it funny. So I enjoyed it. I don't think it was too far. I just was
Taken
that
Yeah,
it
I was
existed.
literally the exact same reaction. I was just like, oh. Oh. It's funny, but oh. I was like, I'm realizing what's happening now. But
A lot
I don't.
of oh.
Yeah, I think there definitely were ways they could have taken it too far, and I think they towed that line well, in my opinion. They could have been the smallest thing, and it would have been just over the line for a lot of people, and it was to a lot of people over the line. But I thought it was kind of funny too.
And also, it's interesting because I think a lot of people going into Lower Decks were expecting that kind of humor,
Yeah.
especially from someone who had worked on Rick and Morty, and that's the kind of humor that's there. So the fact that we're 2 seasons in and nearly half the season in, and we get that kind of humor which doesn't hit, I think is a testament to how Lower Decks has handled its humor, and it handled it well.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, well, Lower Decks is. I think everyone is surprised by it in general.
Mhm.
That it can be serious and it can be epic, and it's not always just jokes. A lot of it is jokes, but it's proper. It's jokes for a reason. It's not like
Right.
just a visual gag or I think a lot of people are really surprised that it could be that kind of show. my favorite show.
I love it. It's a lot of fun. I actually, when Lower Decks came out, I had told them that I thought it was Dom and Jack. I had said that I was pretty sure that the pilot of Lower Decks was going to be my favorite pilot of any Star Trek. And I still, and it is. It's like something about it was just, it felt like they knew what they were going in to do. Like they felt like they had a foothold. They were going in with the pilot, and they had an exact idea of what they wanted from that show. And I think that's one of the reasons I was like, yeah, I mean, this is by Star Trek fans for Star Trek fans. You can argue whether it's canon or not. At the end of the day, I really personally don't care whether it's considered canon or not. It's fun, and that's why I watch it. So.
And also going into the fact that they knew what they were doing going into it.
Right.
I think that's also a testament to it being a strong pilot, a strong Star Trek pilot, because a lot of these series don't know what they're doing at the beginning.
And you can tell.
And this even the older legacy shows that the pilots aren't really the strongest, and it's only until they grow the beard that it's they know what they're doing.
Yes.
So it's the fact that Lower Deck started off strong, knowing what it's doing, and now it's just continuing.
I agree.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
I guess since 4 was a little ways ago, and I know for a fact it's not Dom's favorite because that would be episode 5, but what was your favorite and least favorite part of this episode? I'll start with Dom.
Okay, well, I think we've already covered the least favorite part. But favorite, I have to say the fact that how Boimler and Rutherford saved the day, and I think this will be your favorite as well, Brie, for reasons. So I'll leave that for you to talk about. But there's just like some little details, but the fact that the number of different ways they pronounce Mugatu, Gamatu, all these ways was amazing, and the fact that it's related to the fact that DeForest Kelly McCoy in the original series couldn't pronounce Gumatu.
Yeah.
So they changed it to Mugato, but even then he was like Mugutu. So I like that we are getting jokes from behind the scenes stuff in Trek. That is really cool.
Yeah.
So I think that would be my favorite, what this episode showed.
What about you, Linda? Favorite, least favorite?
I struggle to think of my least favorite because I like my favorite moments are so good that it just that's all I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, I wish they hadn't. I don't care what I don't like. I don't care about that. But my favorite, you just mentioned it there, Dom, at the start there, is when Rutherford and Boimler are like, right, let's do this, and they start getting loads of scrap and building it, and it comes out with a big, you think it's kind of like be a big bazooka, and it's actually like a PowerPoint presentation.
And I love that it was in
the original
it was
series
like
canon.
from
the arena.
The arena.
Yeah. That was the first thing I thought
it's
was
the actual one because it has like a cut in the opening, so it is the bamboo cannon.
Because that was the first
Kirk
thing
made.
I thought was that they were gonna fire the diamonds out, and I'm just like, haha, another reference. But then it was the PowerPoint, and I was like, wait, hold on.
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah. Well, now I'm not hopping on every TOS reference because I don't know it very well. I don't know TOS very well, but just PowerPoints. For the Ferengi. Amazing.
And see, that was also my favorite part, but for a completely nerdy ass reason. So I study environmental management, and one of the things that we focus on is species conservation, and that extends to pretty much anything. The way they went about explaining how the cost benefits outweigh is literally, not kidding, how we do it in the real world. And I was over there, like, my heart was so happy. I'm an environmentalist, so I'm just like, that's literally what we do. Like, because you go into a community, and a lot of the times that is their one and only source, or their primary source of income is people coming in hunting, for instance, ivory. People come in and hunt for the ivory trade, and they sell the licenses and the permits to go on. and that's their livelihood. So it's very hard for someone from another country to come in and be like, you can't do this. So the best way to do it is to say there's a better way. You can still profit off of this exact thing, but in a healthier way. And we do that. We go in and we say, because it's true, the income that you get from, the revenue you would get from tourism and basically tourism not for hunting, but for actually seeing them in the wilderness, does bring in more income in the long run. And so that's just something that I got so excited about, because I was like, that is to a T how we try and convince communities that there is a better way and they still have their income. I was very
So they definitely did their research.
They did do their research. I was very proud of them.
But yeah, going on, one thing which we haven't talked about on this episode is the Tendi subplot of her getting physicals off, the annual physicals off the crew that don't want it. What were your thoughts on that little subplot?
Linda, you can go first.
That was good. I like when Starfleet commanding officers get their juniors to kind of train themselves and like trick them into evolving, and gave her this random just get some physicals, but it was really character building. So I really liked that in Star Trek. But I loved that it was just a scene of someone trying to get their cat to the vet. Yeah.
I also
I laugh all the way through.
No,
these.
I did too. I saw someone say it wasn't they said it felt like filler. I really enjoyed it, because to me there's so many times that in different Star Trek episodes where the doctor will just be like, oh, someone hasn't come in for their physical, or you need to come in for your physical, or it's like Kirk was notorious for that. It's like, you've avoided this physical. And so it's like obvious that people do it all the time. So it was nice to see that, it's not just the one-off. Like there's a bunch of them that do it, but I really liked the chase scene. I thought it was hilarious, and I actually really liked the end of it when she falls and she like breaks her arm. And Tana's like, oh yeah, that old shit. And she was like, oh my god, oh god, kid, no, god. And then she was like, ha, gotcha. Just like, that was my favorite part. I laughed so hard.
Tendi.
I loved Tendi.
I really loved that Dr. Tana was like, oh kid, I'm so sorry. One. Like, just that little dialogue
kid,
there was so sweet.
Yeah.
Where it's like shows just that little bit of like, okay, she does care. She cares about her subordinates, even if they don't feel like it. But yeah, I also like that she was the holdout. I thought that was nice.
Yes.
Yeah. And typical.
Yeah. I like it when she was like, no, I am the doctor. But yeah, 4 was good, but I think I have to agree with you that episode 5 to me was a lot. I don't want to say more fun, because this one was fun, but there was a lot to it, and I liked it a lot. I thought it was very emotional and sweet, and I really enjoyed it. But Linda, what did you think of episode 5?
Yeah, an embarrassment of Dupplers.
Yeah.
First, the name is the collective term for Dupplers is an embarrassment of Dupplers. I thought that was very good.
Yeah.
I loved the episode. I loved the Duppler stuff it got a bit samey.
Yeah.
But in between, the whole the car chase and the Judge Dredd coming out of nowhere for some reason, and trying to sneak into the coolest club and ended up at some bar. I just loved it. I loved it.
I loved it.
What did you think?
I know, Dom, you loved it, so let me hear what you like about it.
I loved it because actually there are numerous Discovery references in that episode, which I absolutely adore. You've got tusked Tellarites, which is something that's more in Picard and Discovery than the previous Tellarites we've seen. And obviously we've seen the previous style of Tellarites in Lower Decks as well. So the fact that we see both of them in this series is very cool. You see in the the fine gentleman's clothing shop or whatever, the one of the outfits which someone is holding up is a civilian version of Pike's outfit from season 2 of Discovery, which is really cool. But the best thing in this episode is this really small thing where outside the TOS bar, there's a Gorn chef who is selling Crada legs. Crada legs first being referenced in DS9 as a Klingon food. And he's called Mr. Crada Leg. Now, if you watch the After Trek show for season 1 of Discovery, in one of those episodes when they're interviewing Mary Chieffo and Shazad Latif, when, you know, in the Discovery episode when Cole comes to the Sarcophagus ship and bribes all the crew with a feast?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing that L'Rell picks up and eats is a Crada leg. And during that scene, to make it more humorous, Shazad and Mary would shout at each other, Mr. Crada leg, in a really thick Scottish accent. So the fact that we've got a Mr. Crada leg in Lower Decks, I want to think is intentional to this behind the scenes thing in Discovery. It has to be. And that is amazing.
That was the deepest dive I've ever heard, Dom. I don't know. I've never even seen anyone bring that up. That was a deep dive you just took.
We brought it up in our Twitter thread for Easter eggs of the episodes, which we always bring out a day after international release, so on Saturdays. So if you want to look for some deep dives, which I find, come there. I tweet them every Saturday on the Trek Central Twitter. And yeah, it was a real deep dive, and I was really proud that I found it and I didn't see anyone else find it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else did. It was a very deep dive. But
yeah, so that was my favorite part. And the thing is, this episode was already my favorite, but it was only on my, I think, 4th watch of the episode that I actually found that. And that's why it's my favorite episode now. So it's like the more you watch it, the more things you find and the more things you enjoy.
Yeah.
That's like if you freeze frame
great about Lower Decks.
in that car chase scene, like everyone they zoom past, like you can freeze frame at any point and you'll see some kind of Easter egg. It's like who they're driving past, what they're driving past. It's like there's just something in every frame, it feels like. And I really liked that.
The Alex Kurtzman is a good little...
Yeah, I didn't actually realize that was Alex Kurtzman until I looked on Twitter and people were like, that's Alex Kurtzman. I'm like,
and it totally is when you once you know. It totally is. Lucky for him.
Linda, what was your favorite part of episode 5?
Oh my god, there was so much. I think Okana.
Mm-hmm. He's just up there DJing.
DJ.
Yeah, he's just up there like... I loved that.
So, they've mentioned him before.
Yeah.
They've mentioned him before, but to actually have him.
He was mentioned in a comic too, I think.
He might
Way
have been,
back.
but
It was like
talking about Okana, so when they did the premiere red carpet for season 2, someone interviewed not Alex Kurtzman, Mike McMahon, and was like, hey, are there any things you had to... Well, actually, I can't remember the question, but they were talking about the showrunner meetings, which Star Trek has. So once a month, all the showrunners of the Star Trek shows meet together and are like, oh, this is what we're doing. These are the characters we're using. So if anyone else is using those characters, they can be like, oh, okay, we need to alter it in this way. Or, oh, we won't do it because you're taking it in a cool direction. Which is nice.
Yeah,
it adds some nice
overlap.
continuity. But what's really cool, Mike McMahon said that there's a character later in season 2 that they changed the appearance of because of their appearance in Prodigy. Now, in this episode, we see O'Connor with an eye patch. And it was previously reported that... Is it William Campbell, the actor who plays O'Connor?
I have no idea.
The actor who plays O'Connor said in a podcast last year, I believe, or earlier this year, that he is in Prodigy. So it makes sense that the character Mike McMahon's talking about, that they changed the appearance of, is O'Connor. So O'Connor has an eye patch, and he will be in Prodigy, and that's really cool.
I'm excited for Prodigy.
That we have his change of appearance in Lower Decks, and then I think Yeah, this season of Lower Decks is 2381, so in 2 years he'll somehow be in the Delta Quadrant, interacting with the Prodigy folk. So that's really cool. I just really like that.
I think that's cool too.
Unless he's a hologram as well, maybe all the characters
But then,
we know are
why
just
would he have an
holograms.
eye patch if he's a hologram?
And why would they have a hologram of him? I feel like,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, maybe there's
still
holograms of everyone, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope he's not a hologram. I hope he actually shows up as him.
Yeah.
I don't like when
Same.
they always. I don't like when it's always a cop out of hologram, because I know we always assume that with Lower Decks, like talking about the Borg, and everyone keeps assuming that Borg episodes are going to be
okay.
like hologram or holodeck things, and I
From
personally,
the trailer.
I
Yeah.
personally don't think so. I think they've done so many times where they cop out on like, oh, they show something and then it's a like the first season where it was like there was Borg. And it was like, okay, it was a hologram. But I don't feel like they're going to do it a second time. I feel like it's actually going to show up. That's my hope anyway.
Mm.
In a totally unpredictable way.
Yes.
That's what I've learned about Lower Decks. We cannot predict this.
No, you can't. That's why I like it so much, though, I think. I like when I can't predict things in a show.
Yeah, I think even knowing the episode titles, you cannot predict Lower Decks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who could think that an embarrassment of Duplas was Lower Decks' version of the Trivial episode
Yeah.
with a car chase and Judge Dredd, and
Yeah.
who could have foreseen that?
Literally nobody.
I really enjoyed the episode. I think the reason I liked it so much was more the character building aspect than anything. It was nice to see that while Boimler, wanted to go still to the party, like when he got there, he was like, okay, it's not as fun if it's just me. Like everyone's got a friend or their number one, and like I climbing the ranks isn't everything. And then for Mariner, it was I have these friends and I care about them and I want to keep them, and I also struggle with pushing people away, even though I don't always want to. And so having that relationship and then seeing her and her mom and the bridge crew in general, like not trying to escape at the end where he was like, you want to like hide or whatever? And she's like, nah. And she just goes out and like, no one's in trouble. Like there was and that, I liked that where it was just like, you can come drink with us. Like I know you had a shit night too. And I really liked
And you know what, that was kind of Lower Decks' all good things poker table moment, but just happening like real early. But it was nice. It was like, come on, we're all family. Let's just hang out in this crappy bar.
I really liked that. That was probably my favorite part in the whole episode, was just the whole interaction with Mariner and Boimler and the bridge crew, and like starting to see them not be so much animosity. Because I know one complaint people had was you're going back to the status quo of season 1 of Mariner and her mom not getting along, and Mariner doing this. And I think this was a good way to show that that's not necessarily going to be the case, at least I hope, because they seem to have done a pretty good job of, in the last episode or 2 episodes ago, she might have struggled a bit again, but that's anytime you struggle with something, struggling to do whatever, you're going to have ups and downs where you have bad days of, okay, well, no, I'm just going to push the people away. But seeing her finally like, no, all right, I'm going to just hang out or whatever, invite my mom and the bridge crew to come drink, even though I could get in trouble for it, was nice.
Yeah,
I was kind of confused. Sorry, this is a silly point, but I was kind of confused that Boimler walked in and went, "Put those on my tab." Like he has a tab,
right?
Like, and also, he orders a prune juice spritzer.
Yeah.
What is that? That sounds terrible.
Yeah. The worst drink imaginable.
But yeah, talking about character moments, we also have the character moment with Rutherford and dealing with the fact that he lost his memory, which is, I really appreciate that they did come back to that and took the time to be like, oh, but how would someone in Starfleet who has lost their memory of an entire year deal with it?
Yeah.
So what were your guys' thoughts on that, as well as not only that, but the whole Dupla sub-story on the ship?
I love Rutherford and Tendi. I think they're very lovely. They're a lovely pairing, and I love that she yeah, she's always been that kind of person, but she's the person who's gonna, look after him and get him back, well, not back to his old self, but make new memories
Mm.
for him. And I loved the little model ship building
Yes.
scene. It was perfect. And all of us are like totally what we would do, we'd build a ship together. Yeah, it was lovely. There's no better person than Tendi to be helping him. I don't see anyone else really, jumping to look after him. So
Mm.
I'm glad he has Tendi. The Dupler thing was yeah, it was they're a good alien. I like this alien.
Mm.
I said this about when I was talking about Invincible, the superhero show
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
on Amazon,
Mm.
that it must be so hard to come up with new superheroes because all the obvious powers have been done. So it must be the same with aliens. Like what's different about this alien? It must be so hard to think of a new alien and what do they do and what is different about them. But that was a really, really good alien.
I
Well
liked
done
it.
for that one.
Yeah, I wasn't, because I don't know the episode titles going into it until it pops up. Because I like to keep myself pretty. I don't like to spoil things for myself as best as I can, which is very hard working on this channel. But I try my best to avoid even trailers until I have to talk about it. So so I feel like it gives away too much. But yeah, no, I guess I didn't. I mean, yeah, the name Dupler, I guess I would have been like, okay, yeah. And they did bring it up early, but who would have thought that is just like an alien that exists? Like, yeah, if they get embarrassed, they just duplicate. That's your alien this time. I'm like, I really like that. It's very unique and creative.
Yeah.
I liked the
Yeah. I really liked the Duplers because they were voiced by Richard Kind.
Yes.
And if you've watched Scrubs,
Yeah.
where he's a hypochondriac, he just fits that character so well.
Yeah, it was like, I heard the voice and I'm like, I know this voice. I definitely know this voice. And I Googled it. I'm like, that's why I know it.
Yeah, so
would
he
know
was
somewhere.
a really good pick for the voice in this. I'm glad that he's in Drake. And then going to the Rutherford and Tendi thing, one thing I want to add, well, not ask, but just say, so when making these models, they come with actually workable warp
I
cores.
love that.
That's cool,
That's
but also
dangerous, but cool.
kind of a dangerous safety risk.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't see the age rating on the model, but like
You'd like
kids
to
could be
hope.
making that, and they have a warp core which fires lasers
Like,
and goes to warp slightly. Yeah,
I love the
yeah,
in the future, kids are smarter.
Yeah.
They're not going to mess with.
they know the safety of they know how to be safe around a warp
Yeah.
core.
actually, that's a good point because in Enterprise in Broken Bow, small child Archer is playing with a model ship, and that has a stuff in. So yeah, kids are just smarter and safer in the future.
Yeah, I guess.
Apart from all the TOS episodes in which they're really scary and dangerous.
Yeah, I feel like Gene did not like children. He made them so terrifying in the original series, and just did not write them well in Next Gen either.
I think one of the really like dangerous children episodes was actually banned in the UK because the BBC were like, "That's too scary." I think it was Miri, the one where the
I
kid.
figured that was the one.
Scary.
Yeah, that one is pretty creepy. But yeah, I really liked the Tendi and Rutherford. I really liked how the fact, like, he didn't have his memory and he was like, what is all this squiggly lines? And then I love how it ended up being that it's not that they ever wanted to get it done. It's just that they were doing it because they enjoyed spending time together. And I'm like, that is the whole point of it at the end of the day. It's like doing something either because you love it or because you're doing it with someone that you like. So I really liked that whole... And she kept it secret for so long just because she knew, but she wasn't going to say anything until it was, at that point, and he was like, well, why? And she's like, because, dang it, like, we just enjoyed spending time. No one bothered us, and we just got to hang out.
And it was the fact that nobody bothered them when making that model. And yeah, people do have those social deflector shields where they don't want to be bothered, so they just do stuff, whether it's put in headphones or make models with your friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've talked about Lower Decks a good bit, but we haven't talked at all about Star Trek Day. So
We have a lot.
There is a lot. I came in late. I came in when they had Sirach talking, and and I was just like, oh my gosh, DS9 news. Wow, are we getting a remaster? And I'm like, I didn't look at the panel list or anything. I just saw him talking, and I got so excited. I was like so disappointed when that Band-Aid got ripped off, and it was just that he was a guest. So, oh well. But I did see the DS9 panel. I thought that was great.
Yes.
And I missed, unfortunately, the Prodigy panel because I had company over, and that was just one of the ones that I wasn't there for. I saw when they announced the remaster of the motion picture. Yeah.
Yes.
It was a lot. There was a lot of news.
It was a lot. It was a long 6 a.m.
Did I lose power?
It was tiring. But yeah, it also was interesting because I know when they put the panels up beforehand and I had a look at them, they also had the timings. And I looked at all the older show panels like DS9, Enterprise, and they were only like 6 minutes long. I was like, how can you have a panel if it's only 6 minutes long? And when they actually did it and it was like some monologues from the cast, it was really sweet. I especially loved Anthony Montgomery's talk on Enterprise, because Enterprise deserves that love.
It
and
does.
He's like,
it really does.
It's a fun show.
It is so fun.
I'm like, yes, it is a fun show. And it was just good to hear from them all. And especially the fact that Jolene Blaylock was at the event.
So happy about that.
And that's the first time she's been. That's the first Star Trek event she's been to since
early 2000s.
Maybe 2005.
Yeah. It's not,
because I don't think she did much after the fact. I mean, I know she did the behind the scenes interviews in like 2011 for Enterprise. I think it was 2011. But the fact that she was there is great. I would have wished if the interviewers on the red carpet got the chance to interview her, but she probably might not wanted to have an interview. Exactly. But yeah, we got a lot of things with Picard, with Lower Decks, with Prodigy, and they were all so good.
Yeah, the trailers were great.
I mean, you both talked about the fact that you don't really watch trailers. Have you watched these trailers?
I did. Yes.
No.
I did, because they were so good.
I watched the Strange New Worlds.
And how did I forget about Strange New Worlds?
Yeah. Just because uniforms.
Yeah.
I needed to see the uniforms.
Yeah.
I needed to screenshot the different angles for reasons.
What are your thoughts on the uniforms? Because I know there's been some discussion about them.
They're fine. Yeah. I am sad that they are not wearing those lovely half biker type jackets. I loved the Enterprise uniforms.
I did too.
So I'm sad that they're not wearing those anymore. And the ones that, like, I don't know, it looks a bit too casual, and people are going to be like, well, what about TNG? They're just wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They did, to me, no, like Discovery had the gold, had the bling. They look really done up, you know. And then the Enterprise, where it's so smart, and I just think they've gone a little bit cash. I'm not a huge fan, but I do like I like that there's a zip up in the middle, and it's like a normal
everyone
that I can easily obtain from somewhere.
Yeah, because
Everybody
I know
hold on to a desk.
Gene
There's a
Roddenberry was very
zipper.
much a
Yeah.
there are no zippers in the
Yeah,
future
so I'm like, everyone
kind of person,
hold the heck
which is
onto
wild.
something.
I don't know why you would have such a hard stance on zippers. But he was like, yeah, all these outfits, there are meant to be no visible zippers
Yeah.
because zippers are a thing of the past.
That was the dumbest thing to me.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, how is that uniform? How do you put on your uniform in the morning?
They-
Science fiction. That's how
Yeah.
I put it on.
Yeah, and like
Teleports on.
the ways they went about trying to like avoid using zippers.
So it is nice that they do get zippers and they look like they can actually be worn.
Yeah.
Brie, what are your thoughts on the uniforms for Star Trek Day? Well, for Strange New Worlds?
I liked it. I think.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Is this? Oh no.
Can you hear me now?
This. We can hear you. Yes.
Okay, that's what I was
Okay.
worried. Earlier I asked, and I thought something happened because I said, did I just lose power? And then I kept trying to talk, and like no one could hear me, and I thought maybe I was just like turned down or something because I was like, I keep like speaking up and just like no like response. I'm like, I feel like I might be muted. I was waiting to see if that was the case, but yes. So I think I lost
Well, it
power.
looks like the
for
stream's still up.
Huh? The stream
looks
is
like the
still up,
stream's
yeah,
still
but
up.
I was worried because my power flickered along with the light on my mic. So if you don't know, it's raining horribly right now where I'm at, so I'm struggling a little. But yeah, what I was saying is and now I look ridiculous because I was just pantomiming the whole thing to everybody while I was talking. But I was just like, when you were like, oh, they actually have zippers. I was like, I know, right? Like, everybody just hold the heck on to something because there's a freaking zipper in Star Trek. This is unheard of. I was shocked. Shocked and appalled. This is not Gene's vision. No, I'm kidding. No, I liked the uniforms.
We know.
I liked them. I thought they were the only thing, and it's not that I don't like it, it's just that I made the joke. I'm like, every cosplayer is gonna be dying inside because they have those little deltas on every, like, and I'm just like, ha, R.I.P. to us, huh? Because this is gonna suck. So
yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna get the tops that already have panels, just the yellow and a slightly darker yellow, and that's what I'm doing. And you could stand over there and say, "Oh my God, that's so accurate," and I'd be like,
"Yeah, I am not drawing all of that on." The only way I could see that would be the only way I could see that being possible is like finding a friend who could do 3D printing and make me a stencil. It's the only way you're ever gonna get me to put those on, and then I could just like put it down and then just with like some paint. Like, that's the only way you'll see me putting those on because that's too much work. But
no,
I thought they were all right. I think, I don't know, I do like Enterprise jumpers mainly because they remind me of actually being in the military. I guess it's like the most accurate to what I feel like it would be like because it just looked like flight suits. It's what we had in the Navy. Is basically a blue flight suit that we wore on the ship when we were underway because you just really don't wear your basically your camos ever. So it was just like, oh yeah, I mean, that's normal progression of military-esque uniforms. Is like you would just wear basically a Navy-esque uniform in what is basically Space Navy. So
yeah, the Enterprise NX-01 is a sub.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And I love Enterprise. It is like my second. I say this. It's up. Of course, Lower Decks is really good, but it hasn't finished yet, and so I struggle to put. I tend to say, and I say this about everything when I rank shows, is my rankings for new shows tend to be lower, not because I don't like them more, but because I haven't they haven't ended. I could say they're my favorite, like a season might be my favorite, but I can't say definitively if a show is, so I just always put ones I've seen pretty much like all the way through up at the top. So it's DS9 and Enterprise are like my top two, and I love Enterprise. I wish it got more love. I'll die on the hill that it needs more attention, and that now that its time has passed, it aged better. Yeah, it was definitely something that in early 2000s didn't go over well, but looking back, it's a great show, and I think it deserves more love. I loved seeing Jolene on the red carpet. I don't think I got to say that. I was almost in tears because she's like, yeah, it was the first time because that's the thing, is she doesn't go to conventions because she was kind of so disappointed in a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes with Enterprise.
Yeah.
And so it just, she just didn't really go to conventions especially after the cancellation. So to see her coming back, and I feel like that also has to do with a lot of people discovering Enterprise or discovering it for the first time and being like, why did we hate this so much, you know? And so hopefully
I can especially say from my point of view that when I was growing up and watching Trek, I was told by older Trekkies, don't watch Enterprise.
Yeah, I was always told that
worst.
too. Always, I was told that, yeah. Because when I was in the Navy and I first started getting into Star Trek, I was like 18, 19. People who actually watched it, you know, in the 80s and stuff were just like, yeah, don't watch Enterprise, it sucks. And I'm like, okay. And I watched it anyway because I watch in order. Like, I just started with like original series. I didn't watch the animated series because at the time it wasn't on Netflix. Next Gen, DS9, which is what everyone told me would be my favorite. And I have to be honest, first time I watched it was not my favorite. It took me 2 or 3 times before it became my favorite. And then Enterprise, and I was like, I love this. Real quick before it gets lost in the mix, because we do have a donation. Ryan said, Gene being anti-zipper is another reminder that not everything from the mind of Gene Wesley Roddenberry is a good idea. And it's true. That's why I was saying it's so ridiculous what they had to do, like with Ensign Ro in the episode where she goes down in the Next Generation and you see like the Bajoran colony. You see a scene where she takes off her jacket. And the amount of effort that went into that one shot of her taking off her jacket was absurd, because it was like two separate prop pieces, and like one was the regular one, and then you had another one that they basically just like held shut with something, and like it was like a cutaway, and you used like a person's body to I'll have to rewatch the scene, but basically it was like all this other shit that they did for no reason. Like just show her taking using a zipper. What is the problem, Gene? What is wrong? What did zippers do to you? Who hurt you?
Well, like, a zipper, apparently.
You'd think a zipper killed like someone in his family. It's ridiculous. He hates them so much.
Yeah, well, he also had a lot of other things that were very questionable. Like, he had an hour-long phone conversation about Ferengi sex with a producer.
Yeah, and and Deanna was supposed to have 3 boobs. Yes,
this is
good old
Gene's vision, guys.
Yes.
But all in all, I don't know. I liked the what I was seeing coming out of the panel. I didn't get to see I did see all of the trailers. I did do that, even though I didn't get a chance to watch it all live. The Prodigy trailer looked super good. Oh, the intro was phenomenal. I was
Linda, have you seen the intro?
Blown away.
No, yes, I have. Yeah.
I was actually blown away by the intro. I don't know what I was expecting from the intro to Prodigy, but that wasn't it. I think I was expecting a more like, and I know it's Star Trek, but because it's on Nickelodeon, I guess, I was just expecting a more like bubbly, cutesy intro, more like cartoons tend to have, I guess. I don't know. I was just not expecting that beautiful score. And the animation looked great. It was very similar to me. It reminded me a lot of the intro of Discovery, where it's like everything kind of like fade, and Picard too, where they do those different like fades from one big thing to another, and it's like the big eye, and they did that in Discovery, where it's like the big eye, and then they did it with the villain or the villain's henchman.
No, that there was a big eye which was for one of the main characters, Dahl, yeah. And then there was the eye of a villain as well, yes.
But
Dreadnought.
Yes, that's who it is. But I thought it was beautiful. I was not expecting that intro, but I really, really like it.
And the theme's done by Michael Giacchino.
Oh, okay.
So
that's probably why I like it so much.
It's amazing. And then the score for the rest of the show is done by Nami Melamud. Sorry if I butcher that last name. And she is basically a protege to Giacchino, having done the short Trek. I think it was Q&A, the one where
she
Spock
did.
and Una are in the turbolift, which has some very Kelvin-y themes. So you can obviously tell Giacchino's influence there.
I remember that.
But Linda, you've watched Ninjago, right?
Oh man, we are
And
such
that's a
mega
Dan and
fans.
Kevin Hageman
Yeah.
show. Yes.
So the minute I heard they were involved, I fainted. I was so excited. I got my kids. I was like, kids, guys who wrote Ninjago are making a Star Trek show that you can watch. And they were like, okay,
All right,
back to
that's
playing.
cool.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But I've been showing them everything that's coming out, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. And then when Janeway was eventually in the trailer, I was like, gather round, children, gather round. Showing them the trailer. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. I'm extremely excited for Prodigy now that now that more stuff is coming out. Like I said, I've been hesitant with Prodigy mainly because it's on Nickelodeon, and I know it's Paramount hosted, but Nickelodeon has someone who's grown up with the channel and has seen it in the best it can be. I know it's not the best it has, and of course that always comes with age. Everyone's always like, my generation of TV was better. But in all honesty, Nickelodeon definitely has been better in the past. So I was a little bit worried that it was a Nick show. But the more that comes out, the more excited I am, even though it is current Nick. And so I'm just like, yeah, this is looking better and better as they put more stuff out.
So excited. But yeah, I don't know when we're gonna eventually see it.
Yeah, in the UK, well, in
Rest of the
international
world.
territories.
Listen,
We do not know.
I'll just do watch parties on Discord for all of my friends, and we'll have a big old showing of episodes as they come out, because you can do that.
Yes,
and
though I will say I'm the most excited for Prodigy, actually, out of all the trailers that were there. Because as I was doing the socials for Trek Central on Star Trek Day, I actually didn't see a lot of the trailers because I was too busy typing, being like, oh, okay, they're showing the trailer. Oh, okay. So I didn't actually go in depth, being like, oh, okay, that's a really cool thing, and all that stuff. But I went through the Prodigy trailer frame by frame, and there are so many great things in it, and I cannot wait to see this new frontier of Trek, and also how I just hope it will inspire future generations.
That's my
because that is what Trek needs. It needs all these different shows to get different people into Trek, because it's through our differences that we're better, and it's through Trek's differences that it becomes stronger as a franchise, in my mind. So I cannot wait for Prodigy. And yeah, it comes out in the US in October.
I think so.
28th of October.
28th, yes. But then it overlaps with Discovery, which will be very painful because those of us here have to cover it. I don't know how we'll do streams.
We'll just do
It'll be
2 topics. Easy. I mean, at least it'll give us more to talk about. We'll just always have content. But
yes, it will always have content, but it will be a very tiring couple of months.
Yes. But I don't know. I'm very
good
excited.
luck with that.
I'm excited
Thank you.
nonetheless.
We'll need it.
But yeah, Prodigy looks like a lot of fun, and I am exceedingly more excited for it. I think it might also be maybe also my favorite thing I'm looking forward to. I think that trailer really sold. You know what it reminds me of, and I told this to my friend who's a huge Star Wars fan. It reminds me of Star Trek's version of the Clone Wars. Is very much what it reminds me of. It's like if Star Trek did the Clone Wars and that animated series. It's the animation style is very similar to me. Some of the character, that young girl, I don't know the name of the character yet.
Gwyn.
The one with the tentacle hair.
Yeah,
yes,
Gwyn.
I really like her, and she reminds me a lot of I'm sorry, I'm not a Star Wars fan. The girl that's got the two things like that.
Ahsoka?
Yes, reminded me a lot of that. A lot of
Yeah.
her. From that, and so I was just like, yeah. I feel like this is one of those things. Like, if it does become like that, a lot of people are gonna have this be some of their favorite Star Trek. Because even my friends that are huge Star Wars fans, they will always say Clone Wars was freaking phenomenal. Like, they love it. It's some of my friends' favorite shows or movies,
especially
or
if it's
from Star
your
Wars.
first in a franchise. You always remember
And
that
that's
first
what
thing
I'm
you watch,
hoping-
whether it's Clone Wars or Prodigy or
And that's what I'm
Discovery
hoping
or
for with Prodigy.
even Next Generation.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you said, it's bringing in a whole new generation. That's what I'm hoping for. Because a lot of what's up?
Oh, sorry. I kind of feel bad for anyone who is going to start off with Prodigy as a kid, and
Their parents
as
are
they
gonna
get
be like-
older. Yeah, but as they get older, they go to TNG
Yeah.
or whatever, and TOS. They have so much Star Trek
Yes, they
that they
do.
have to watch.
I want to pity
They
them,
don't
but I
have to.
don't because I know they'll love it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's great. It's great. They'd never be stuck for anything to watch.
I'm very excited to get like a whole new generation into it because I don't know. I had my own reasons for coming into Star Trek, but there was never like new content that I felt like specifically. Maybe the Kelvin films specifically target people who weren't, hardcore Trekkies or maybe new to the franchise because it's basically rebooted it. But having something like this where it's literally like targeting children and it's like, here's like the animated series, but for you and today. So
And obviously you'll get fans being like, but when I was a kid, we watched The Next Generation
okay,
when I
but
was
you also
younger.
watched the animated series too, and you can
But
also watch
the
Discovery.
the thing is, you would, if you were watching like TNG as a child, it was probably either your parents were putting it on,
right?
or
Reruns or
what was it called? Or the fact that it was the only thing on TV. There is so much content nowadays that you do have to target these demographics and be like, okay, this is a show for kids. I know that you watched TNG as a kid and you enjoyed it and that's how you became a Trekkie, but so many people will not watch TNG because either their parents aren't Trekkies or they'll just be like, oh, it's that
old
nerdy
or
show.
whatever, yeah.
But if they're on Nickelodeon, they're just watching it and Prodigy comes up, that's a great gateway for Trek.
Yes.
So I have to remind people who are like, but I watched TOS when I was a child, that times have changed.
Yeah, the time is now, old man. Let children enjoy things and let people enjoy things.
I hate that argument of, I watched that. I
Okay.
was watching 18s movies when I was a kid and nothing ever happened to me. And you're like, really? Look around at the world.
Yeah.
Something happened to the world. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like let people watch what they want, enjoy what they want. If you watched that when you were growing up, great. Good for you. If you want to show that to your children, great. Good for you. But if another parent is more comfortable introducing them to a Star Trek show specifically targeted for children, that is that parent's prerogative or that person's prerogative or,
Or just the children turning on the channel.
Like, why are you so upset about this? What? It's a kid's show. For God's sake.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
Move on.
But I do look forward to Prodigy because the creators have said that in terms of animation, a lot of the times it is lumped into, this is animation for kids and this is animation for adults. There isn't really that, this is just animation. Yeah. And they really want Prodigy to be that, it is just animation. It may be targeted for kids, but it is... It can be watched as a family. It can be watched by older people.
Yeah. I try and say that about Ninjago, because you look at it, it's Lego, and people are like, it's a kids show, but it's actually such an epic show. It's just brilliant. The storylines are brilliant. The characters are brilliant. Like the parents sitting down to watch Ninjago with their kids, there are movie references in there. There's like Matrix, there's Back to the Future, there's Terminator, there's so many movies, like it's they're putting it in for the parents. But if you just sat down and watched Ninjago, I guarantee, get the 4 kids out of your head. Same with Prodigy. Just sit down and bloody watch it, and you might enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd argue. I saw someone mention Adventure Time. I'd agree. I'd argue Adventure Time falls in that category too, of being animation for animation, not just targeted for children or adults. That's definitely one of the first ones that came to mind.
I would definitely
too.
say we're moving more towards that because like so many people picked up Avatar
Yes.
over
Oh
the
my gosh,
pandemic.
that's my
And
favorite.
that is animation for animation. But a lot of people are like, oh, it stars a child.
Okay, and
It's for children. But then when they got into it during the pandemic, they were like, why did I let my narrow-mindedness of animation get in the way of me enjoying
that
this?
is a show that can make me cry
yeah.
every time, whether it wants to or not. I will be crying in some episodes.
Yeah. But yeah, there we go.
Animation's for everybody. Don't let anyone tell
Animation
you
is for
otherwise.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look forward to Prodigy coming next month.
But
Well, for
Yeah.
US people, not for international.
But before we head out, I am going to open it up because chat's been very active lately. I'm going to open up to chat. What did you guys think about the 2 most recent episodes? What are you most excited for? What did you see at Star Trek Day that you were most excited for?
Yes.
It could be trailers. You could just be a person.
This
What
was
are
a
you
very
excited for?
varied stream.
Yeah, we had a lot.
This week, so yeah.
Anything that makes you excited, because we've talked a lot about what makes us excited. But
More Star Trek makes me excited.
yes, same.
Yes, we'll start.
Oh, but yeah, you do need to finish Avatar because it is my favorite animated show of all time, hands down, 100%. Adventure Time's right there too, but Avatar: The Last Airbender is great. Yeah, loved it all. Had Strange New Worlds casting news. That's right. The Strange New World cast was wonderful. Picard season 2 trailer.
And no one could have. There was a lot of casting news that came out, so we could have predicted it. But there were some wild cast characters in there. So
the Noonien Sung,
yeah.
possibly.
Yes, Union
That
Sing,
no one
yes.
is ever going to mention. It's never going to be
Yeah,
a thing.
it's just
So that would be cool how it links in story, but also the fact that we do have a Noonien Sing and a
Yeah.
Noonien Sung.
yeah, that confuses me
Yeah,
all the
in
time.
Trek.
I hate that so
So-
much.
It's because Gene knew someone from his army days called Noonien Singh, so he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put his name in Trek." So
there's
if
Noonien
he
Singh,
watches,
which is-
then he'll be like, "Oh, I should contact Gene
Yeah.
because we used to be army buddies."
Yeah, because you get Noonien
but
Sing, and then
He did it so often.
Remind him.
Yeah,
you did so often what?
putting in Noonien Singh,
Oh,
Noonien Sung
yeah.
just to remind someone to contact him.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Psst. But yeah, because
But it just means that in Trek, Noonien
Mm-hmm.
last name is common, so it could just be a big
Yeah.
troll
Yeah.
that this person's called Noonien Singh, but it's like, yeah, I'm from like Nebraska.
I don't know. It's just a.
I don't
family
know
name.
who this
Yeah.
Khan is. I'm just a normal human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
So it'll be interesting.
the Enterprise episode always confused me because I was like, wait, Noonien Singh, Noonien Sung. Explain.
Yes. And then he's also dealing with eugenic people as a Noonien Sung, and the Noonien Singh was a eugenic.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, why are you doing
Trek
this
can
to
be
me, Trek? Why are you trying to confuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we also have an Anar in Strange New Worlds, the blind Andorian subspecies, which is cool. We are finally getting some more Enterprise love.
Yes.
And the fact that the actor Bruce Horak, who plays this character Hema, is also blind
I was
themselves,
also excited.
which is really cool because then they'll have like all the mannerisms of. They'll just bring a lot to the character, and I think it'll be great.
I agree. Tim said Strange New Worlds and Picard. And then the music for Picard and Discovery, the music was fantastic. And Strange New Worlds too, is what they
I
said.
also have to say the Blue Skies
Yeah.
performance at Star Trek Day
That was
was
great.
beautiful. Obviously, that was a really beautiful scene in Picard, but having it live with an orchestra of Isa Briones was amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great that she got the opportunity in Picard to use those skills because obviously she's a Broadway musical person. So yeah, it was just great that they got her to perform at Star Trek Day.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah.
She's got a beautiful voice. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely blows me out of the water. Just every time I hear her, I'm just like, wow, this blows me away. It's beautiful. But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to get excited for. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. Sounds like chat's excited. But
Yes.
I'm
so excited.
huh?
I'm so excited. I can barely contain myself.
I know. There's so much to look forward to, and I love that. We've got another 50 something weeks still?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah, a long
more?
time.
A whole year of Star Trek
Yeah.
to cover.
It'll be.
More movies coming out and everything.
Oh, and there was recent news that came out today that there are multiple Trek movies in
Oh.
production. It sounds like the one from Valinda Kalinda Vasquez. Yes, that's her name. One of the Discovery writers is going ahead, which is great, as well as the 2023 one from the WandaVision director person. So a lot of Trek coming soon, and of course we'll be here to cover it. So you can come by, see our views on all this new stuff and all manner of crazy videos related to
It's
it.
gonna be a lot. We're gonna have so
Yes.
much. But before we head out, Linda, where can people find you? And what can people expect from you? I know those earrings.
And also,
are
where can
something I
people
want.
get that t-shirt
Yeah,
as
or
well?
those earrings. Where can people
Just
get those?
your whole
Yeah.
outfit. Where can people
Okay,
get
so if you follow me on Twitter, I will spam you with all the links. So it's at Hen In The Hat 1. I have an Etsy store where I do little thingies like this and hats. There's a hat. See your man back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of stuff in my Etsy store. I'm everywhere. Hen In A Hat, and then with a 1 for Twitter. I'm all over the place.
Yes. And I need to one day buy an adorable hat, but they sell out so quickly. Every time you put a new one out up, or like
I know.
it's like gone. I'm like, ah.
God. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't buy it just yet. My poor fingers kill me.
But you know,
My Christmas coming up.
Yes, I love them. All your stuff is wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
But you know where to find Dom and myself. We have the same handles as we did last week, and we're also through the Trek Central. But until next week when we talk about episode 6 and who knows what else, but probably just episode 6, unless they...
Let's hope there's not any more news.
Yeah, I'm like, unless they drop more news in our lap, because I'm not prepared for that. But hopefully we just get to talk about episode 6. And we don't have a whole lot of stresses next week. But I wanted to thank everybody for stopping by, and thank you, Linda, for coming by and being our guest this week.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we'll see you all next week for episode 6 of Lower Decks. And until then, live long and prosper. See you guys.